Hello, I'm Pastor Nanette Christofferson, and along with Pastor Steve Talmadge, we offer these short Bible studies on our lectionary readings. This week, we are getting ready to move into a whole new church season called Pentecost, so don't forget to wear your red on Sunday. We find ourselves continuing on in Jesus' farewell discourse, reiterating a few things, but we find ourselves in John 15, 26 to 27, and chapter 16, 4b to 15. The commentary this week is by Ginger Barfield from workingpreacher.com. So let's go right to our reading today. Jesus is talking about and trying to prepare his disciples for what is to come to them. And in John, Jesus calls the Holy Spirit the Advocate. When the Advocate comes, whom I will send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth who comes from the Father, he will testify on my behalf. You also are to testify because you have been with me from the beginning. But I have said these things to you so that when their hour comes, you may remember that I told you about them. I did not say these things to you from the beginning because I was with you. But now I am going to him who sent me, yet none of you asks, where are you going? But because I have said these things to you, sorrow has filled your hearts. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is to your advantage that I go away. For if I do not go away, the Advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. And when he comes, he will prove the world wrong about sin and righteousness and judgment. About sin, because they do not believe in him. About righteousness, because I am going to the Father, and you will see me no longer. About judgment, because the ruler of this world has been condemned. I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all the truth, for he will not speak on his own, but will speak whatever he hears, and he will declare to you the things that are to come. He will glorify me, because he will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you. So perhaps the pressing question of this text is, what is going to happen when the Spirit comes, when the Advocate comes? Jesus did not promise the Spirit as a gift only for the first and second century Christians. The reality of Pentecost is that our world at this moment is God-drenched. It is the Holy Spirit who reveals that. The ethos of the Gospel of John was marked by two clear groups: those inside the community, in other words, those who knew Jesus and believed, and those outside, the world, those who did not know or believe. The lines of demarcation were exact and unbending. We continue on with what we call Jesus' farewell discourse to his disciples. Here, the gospel writer captures Jesus' last teaching moments with those who had followed him most closely. The incarnation has now been Jesus' descent to earth, and now it is time for Jesus to ascend. He will, however, send the Spirit to them. As Jesus ascends, the Spirit will come down. In what is rather strange for the gospel context, the Spirit is going to bridge the two realms. The Spirit will function both in the community and in the world. For the world, the Spirit will bring the world to the recognition of the meaning and reality of sin, righteousness, and judgment. In other words, the Spirit will expose to the outsiders, to those who do not believe, the error of their unbelief. Not to believe is the greatest sin according to the Gospel of John, and that sin keeps one outside the community. The Spirit thus has the function of continuing to confront the world, the outsiders, with the presence of Jesus after his ascension. In this way, the Spirit functions as a witness to Jesus, to the world and to the community, to outsiders and insiders. The Spirit also witnesses for the community and concerning Jesus to the community as well to the world. More significantly for the community specifically, the Spirit will lead them in the way of truth on matters that Jesus has not yet been able to teach them. This is interpreted in John 14 as taking what is mine and declaring it to you. The exciting news in this is that the Spirit will proclaim Jesus' own teachings in the new and changing circumstances that the community will face when Jesus is gone. The Spirit will make the teachings of Jesus relevant to each new generation and to each new age. So how is the Spirit moving today? I think there's so many ways in our faith community that's so exciting. I ran out of room to write them all here, so there'll be some that you won't see on here that I will mention. But the Spirit in our faith community is active and moving. I see the Spirit when people in our church offer their home to someone who needs a place of rest for a while. I see the Spirit at work and among those who take time to visit our iHelp ladies and talk with them and cook for them. Those reaching out to the preschool to give them a tour of the garden, just to grow potatoes with them. I see the Spirit at work when music from the children's musical is sung and the children join in with glad voices. When people from our congregation call and reach out to others to pray for them or offer help. When ministry teams are looking for ways to offer Bible studies and fellowships. When there is concern for the other, the least, the lost, the little, and the lonely. When the LOC board meets. When music of praise is played during worship. When the youth in our community work together as well. Every social and outreach ministry we do, from Family Promise to Sleep in Heavenly Peace to Habitat for Humanity, and as I mentioned earlier, iHelp, but also the little ministries of collecting backpacks for others and collecting clothes for others, and all of the things that we do during Lent. These are all ways that the Spirit is at work, and I know I am not naming them all. God is at work. I hope that as we think about the Spirit being at work, as we think about how Pastor Steve a couple of weeks ago said that love is a verb, love is action. And so what does that look like for us here at Love of Christ? Pentecost does a couple things for us. It beckons us. It beckons us to realize that those who are on the inside and those who are outside is never quite as precise as the Gospel of John predicts it or depicts it. The work of the Spirit in the world today helps us to see that the Spirit bridges the realms of the church and the world and calls us to be alert to this movement back and forth. Pentecost calls us to recognize the Spirit alive and active, not just on a spectacular day in the first century, but constantly and always, even now, even now, in this moment, where is the Spirit at work in your family, community, and the world? So I have just really one question for us today. How is the Holy Spirit different in our reading compared to the advocate that we hear in the John reading? I'm sorry. How is the Holy Spirit different in our reading as the advocate compared to the Acts 2 reading? Or maybe there's not a difference. I wonder, when I hear the Holy Spirit described as the advocate, if that just brings a little more outreach to our minds, a little more, how do we help others, being an advocate for those who may need an advocate? The Holy Spirit is within all of us. And the Holy Spirit is the one who moves us to be that advocate for someone who needs help. The Holy Spirit is something that we really can't take credit for. It is a gift. It inspires. It helps us to love one another. And it gives us the ability to know God better. I hope that you have some time to think about the Holy Spirit and how the Holy Spirit has moved in your life, or how the advocate, maybe you like the advocate name for the Holy Spirit better, how the advocate has used you in so many ways to be a light for Christ in this world. I pray you have time to think about this Pentecost, the coming of the Holy Spirit, And don't forget to wear your red. Have a blessed week.